Hey, kitty cat. Adam Savage here in my cave with a fun challenge. I worked in special effects for many years. I'm a big lover of the history of special effects, both practical and otherwise. And practical effects refers specifically to physical effects that happen on set. Mostly. There are absolutely outliers and exceptions to that, but for the most part, practical effects versus other types like compositing and blue screen, etc. Practical refers to something that happens on set. It's hard to beat practical effects if you can afford to use them. They lend a veracity to the frame. When you put everything on a film in the single frame rather than composite it in, it's always going to be better in general. I mean, I've been lucky enough to talk to a lot of wonderful directors like Jon Favreau and Guillermo del Toro and Peter Jackson, and they all, to the last, absolutely love and prefer if they could have practical effects on set. That's another aspect of the practical environment. Like, we're constantly, sold a diet of movie special effects in which elements from all over are brought together, like the final fight scene from the Avengers Infinity War, where, actors are filming in multiple parts of the world and they're bringing it all together for this final battle. But today we're covering my favorite practical effect. My favorite? Maybe that's strong words to say it's my favorite. We're talking about The Knife from Chinatown. Chinatown is a movie from the 70s, starring Jack Nicholson, Faye Dunaway. It's a stunner of a movie, one of my all-time favorites. And I'm a lover of the writer Raymond Chandler. To say that I love Raymond Chandler is actually an understatement. He's really, really important to my makeup. And Chinatown is maybe the most Chandler-esque movie yet made. I've always held out hopes that Tarantino would direct a Chandler-type film. Chinatown, if you haven't seen it, you are in for such a treat. It is weird and amazing. And it involves this scene. So Chinatown overall covers the plot of water rights in Southern California. Highly relevant plot point today. And in the course of the investigation, our hero, Jake Gittes, played by Jack Nicholson, the lead detective, is chasing up some leads that seem to indicate that there's shenanigans going on with the water on its way into LA. And he's investigating this down by a reservoir or something when he is set upon by two characters. One is this giant ogre named Mulvihill, who's basically a bag man, a muscle man. And Mulvihill, big Mulvihill, standing next to him is this short little French guy. It's actually the director, Roman Polanski. Polanski's wearing a suit and he says, "Hey, kitty cat." And he goes up to Jack Nicholson and he says, if after their scene, you know what happens to kitty cats that stick their noses where they don't belong. And he puts a switchblade in Jack Nicholson's nose. And then, whoop, goes right through the side of Jack Nicholson's nose. And blood splatters across Nicholson's face. And I saw this movie for the first time when I was 17. I got it on VHS from the video store and I'm watching it. And I got to that scene and I was like, oh, holy cow. The effect was insane, was amazing. Oh, geez, crow. It's incredible. And I remember stopping the movie and going back and, as best as you could, frame by framing it, which was impossible with old VCRs, but frame by framing it because it was so compelling and so insanely shocking. So today, kids, we are going to replicate The Knife from China. We're going to replicate the whole effect of the knife blood spatter from Chinatown. But we're going to time me because this is part of a challenge with our friends at Corridor Crew. I'm going to do this as a practical effect and they're going to do it as a digital effect. And we are going to see which takes longer. I honestly have no idea. It's not just enough to build the practical gag of the knife with the tip that gets out of the way, etc., or the blood spatter. I want to solve the problem of making this look great here. And that's when I'll consider myself done. Let's get started. It's always great when it's a cooking show. This is, I think, almost everything I will need to do this effect. And before we start the timer, I want to talk about, okay, so I went looking for the knife. And it's a tricky business finding the correct knife for Chinatown. The reason being, this is very close, super close to the actual knife from Chinatown. And it's a switchblade. It's a switchblade. It's got the guard that moves out of the way, which is accurate to the original. It's a little large. And the issue is that it's actually, this is a Rizzuto Stiletto Milano. This is the real thing. This is an Italian stiletto. And the thing is that the real knife wasn't a real Italian stiletto. It was a knockoff. And it turns out that there were cheap knockoffs of these for decades that you could get at any knife table at a flea market forever. And Hollywood answered the call, and like every prop master, every prop house has these knockoffs. And this knockoff was what was used to make the knife from Chinatown. However, finding a cheap knockoff 25 years later is difficult because probably most of them have fallen to pieces. So all I could find was the actual real Italian knife. And I have a problem with this one. And the problem is, I mean, maybe it's hard to see that, but the blade's got some scratches on it. It's got some very visible writing that's so deep I can't get rid of it. And that's not accurate to the film. And yet, even though this handle has the right brass button and the correct little stirrup saddle thing on the back end here, I'm not satisfied. This isn't like, I didn't love this knife. So I bought this one, which is also an Italian stiletto. It's more manageable, it's smaller. And this is one of these cases in which, you know, if I find the right stiletto, the right knockoff, I may remake this. But for right now, for the feel and the fit and the finish of what I want, this is going to be my blade. I think I find it hilarious that post facto, you have to go back to the expensive thing that everyone was avoiding using in the past because there were cheap knockoffs available. And now the cheap knockoffs are not available because they don't last because they were cheap knockoffs. Yeah, that's why I find that satisfying. The other aspect of why I'm going with this one is the original knife sold at Bonham's a few years ago. And that's where I was able to learn some of the factoids I needed to know about this knife. And while it looked as a form factor much more like this knife than this one is actually the correct length. The real movie knife was 9 inches long, and so is this one. So that's another reason to go with this. Now, this knife went all the way like 3/4 of an inch into Jack Nicholson's nose. And then they just moved it sideways. So how did they do that? And in one shot, you see it in one shot. You see the blade go in, doop, and then go around. Maybe it's not one single shot. How do you do that? Well, in the auction catalog picture, you can see that there's a separation here and that a separate tip has been applied. And the cut is actually an angled cut between the tip and the blade. And the angled cut makes the join between the two very hard to see, which is kind of nifty. And then in the auction, we never see behind the knife. Sadly, I reached out to the auction house and asked them for pictures, but that is an unlikely path. So I have to surmise how they did it. I read up on it. The prop master who built the knife is named Logan Frazee, F-R-A-Z-E-E. Frazee. Forgive me if I'm butchering it. I'm sure you'll tell me in the comments. Logan Frazee did the effect for Roman Polanski. It is an exceedingly simple effect. And I think it says it has a hinged blade tip. I could make some sort of pivot that attaches to the back of this thing that somehow, but I think it's simpler. I think it's way simpler. I think it's more something like this, like a spring. And even though this is a very floppy spring, I think this is precisely the amount of tension I want, because I don't want the actor, I think might be me, or I don't want anybody to feel any danger from this. So obviously we're going to dull the knife, but we want to choose. So look, in order for the blade to go up the nose and move to the side, it's got to get out of the way. And in fact, in a frame of Chinatown, I'm able to see it. I did some screenshots. This is a good part of the story too. We're filming a computer screen with my phone, and in no part of this equation does a real camera exist. So here is the knife inside Jack Nicholson's nose, and that's Mulvihill holding him behind. And then here, the knife is moving forward, and you can see already two spots of blood on Jack's face, one on his eyebrow and one on his cheek. It is probably impossible to see on camera, but I can see here the tip of the knife moving like this, like that. I can see it moving out of the way. Yeah. Here is the knife from Bonham's. Here is the knife. See this? See this? There, right there. That's the split between the tip and the knife. And you can see they're very nicely matched. And you can see down here a little bit of stuff. Look, this could be on a pivot, but this doesn't look like, yeah, I'm going to go with the spring. Prop people, we go for the simple solution. I'm going to guess that Logan Frazee made the simple solution call. I'm going to use both of these knives to achieve this effect. This will be the base knife. This will be this part. I know you don't see the guard here, but you do see it in the film. And here is the hole for the rivet right here that holds that guard in place. So it had a guard. It just disappeared over the years. Again, because this is a cheap knockoff, I'm going to cut the tip off of this knife, and then I'm going to marry it to this one. I think you understand it. I think we all understand everything now. Oh, right. The second part of this equation is the blood. So it's not enough for me. It's not enough for me to just build this knife. The knife is only part of the effect. The whole effect is knife plus blood. And for blood, I'm going to use a tried and true method of an ear irrigator, a little squeeze bulb. This is a Tom Savini favorite. If all the reading about Tom I did in my youth holds true. There's a famous story about Tom Savini leading a class of special effects. Hold on. And at the opening of the class, Tom Savini rolled up his sleeve, pulled out a razor blade, and sliced into his arm for the class. And everyone's like, oh! And what it turned out he had was a squeeze bulb full of blood glued to the back of a razor blade. And he simply squeezes the bulb and squeezes blood out. I didn't want to do that on camera because I didn't feel like slicing my wrists in any kind of realistic way for YouTube. Color me nutty. The knife, I think, is operating on the same principle. So I'm going to do it with a squeeze bulb in my hand. Now, how do I get the blood up to the end? With this, with a little Tygon tubing. So I'm going to attach the Tygon tubing. I'm going to attach that tubing to the knife. And I'm going to experiment with giving it some direction. So it's not just spraying upwards. It wants to spray towards the face. It wants to leave a bunch of blood on the face. So I'm going to try and give it that ability to do it. So for the purposes of this challenge, the timer starts the moment I start building, and it's not done until I feel like I have an effect that I'm happy with. The blood in this equation is actually some famous blood. Yeah, you knew it couldn't just be normal blood from me. This blood was given to me by crew lead Tristan and his wonderful crew that did all of the blood effects for Alien Covenant. When we were in Sydney, Australia, doing some coverage of that movie for Sony, Tristan and his team were gracious enough to show me how they made people vomit blood. They built this little shower head that goes in your mouth. They gave me one. They were amazing. And this is also the same team that did all the breakaway effects for The Matrix. Specifically, I told them that the Neo and Agent Smith fight in the subway where they're throwing each other into the walls is some of my all-time favorite breakaway fighting effects. The practical effects that they did smashing through walls in The Matrix, chef's kiss, some of the best work ever. That same team, the breakaway effects crew, made thousands and thousands and thousands of gallons of blood for Alien Covenant because Ridley was like, we need thousands of gallons. And they couldn't buy them, so they made them. And they had a special formula. good blood always has not just red coloring in it, but a little bit of green and a tiny bit of blue. Plus, you usually want something like cornstarch in there to make it a little more opaque. And it's corn syrup, but it's not all corn syrup. It's corn syrup, so it's like, not toxic to taste, because, the blood gets in your mouth when you're doing a movie. No, it's, but it's also like watered down. It's got a right consistency. This is good looking blood. It's been sitting here for a decade since I covered that movie. Okay, maybe not that long, but it's been sitting here since I covered that movie in anticipation. Yeah, here it is. To Adam, have fun. And then I think that is Tristan. I hope I'm getting that name right. I'm calling this old part of my brain back up. If I'm getting your name wrong, please accept my apologies. We have blood. We have knife. We have knife. We have spring. We have Tygon tubing. We have bulb. I'm going to print up a couple of references. One of my favorite techniques for printing out reference material for a build is to print it out 1-to-1. Auction house says it's 9 inches. I'm printing it out 9 inches. Yeah, give or take. Nice. That is great. I can put that away. All right, we're starting the clock. Doot. Yep. Clock is started. Let's do it. I think I'm going to color this blue. I'll also color this one blue. Let those drop. An interesting feature here. The prop master cut the knife on a curve. It's not a straight line. Our eyes, our perceptive qualities are, we see straight lines. We notice perpendicular things. So the prop master has gone to some real care to make this both not straight and not perpendicular. So our eyes glide past it. Yeah, it's a really nice little bit of understanding of human perception, I think. There's the line. I'm going to cut that there, and then I'm going to cut the other blade tip to match that. There it is. See, the knife is hardened, and it's hard for my bandsaw to get through, so I'm going to have to... That was hard to do. But I've got my line, and now... Oops, wrong untightener. Diamond dresser. Hang on. I've got a thing of water. I don't want this to discolor. That's a big deal for me. I don't want to get it so hot it gets discolored. So. That might be what I'm looking for. Let's clean it off and see. I'm happy. I don't have any, there we go. I don't have any burn marks. I didn't get any discoloration from that. And I've got a really nice, I don't want to make this razor sharp. I just want to make it semi-sharp. And that's good enough for me to make the tip, match it to this, and then I'll grind them both to fit each other. Great. Yeah, I like that. Can you see me here? You can. Hi. It went there. Hit me in the chest. Went down there. Let's go find it. Oh, I hate it when things go flying. Let's see here. Don't be too hard to find, please. It's the worst. It is the worst. This It's not much to say. It would be a complete bloody disaster. If I couldn't find it. Okay, let's see. Oh! Ah! Ha! You got to see where it landed. Here we go. So, fell down here. I'm looking down here on the floor. I'm looking down here on the floor, all over here, but boop, there it is. There is my baby. All right, maybe I can grab it. Oh, I think I can grab it with this. I just need a little bit of something that won't mar it. Bought a little bit of this for Aldo Rain's sheath. It should provide a nice holding surface. Oh, you know what? I don't need to worry about the backside, so I can grab the backside with metal because we never see it. Okay, tighten the living frickin' hell out of it. Frickin' laser beams. Okay, before I forget, we'll put that guy back, that guy back, that guy back. I've got this, and I got a pretty good grip on it. So let's go back to the diamond wheel. We'll get these two guys. We'll get these two guys to play nicely together. Is that right? There we go. Now again, I want to do this so I don't end up with any discoloration. I feel like I can only take this so far on this machine. I'm going to use a Dremel. I can take the cutoff knife and make it like, you know, one that sticks out of my shoulder or something for a Halloween costume later. Yeah. It's hard to not be pleased with that. It's hard to not be pleased with that. So let's do a little bit more shaping of this one. This handy little vise, well, I built it. Yeah, we'll include a link to the video below. Okay, I'm happy. It's good enough. Understand that while I realize watching the shot, it does not go into Jack's nose and then go. It goes into Jack's nose, then we cut away, then we cut back. So it only has to maintain its effect for a very short time. I mean, we could go in and look and probably count the frames. All right, let's see here. I just want to double check this. Yeah, all one shot. Dude, I can't even tell you. When I was 17 and I watched this, I was like, holy wow. Yeah, it's a shocking effect. Oh, so awesome. No matter how many times I watch this, I'm always surprised. Great. I like that. I really like that. I think I've got a reflection pattern that works. It doesn't draw too much attention to itself. Yep, it's nice and straight to the blade. I'm working with two different blades here, but I think I've achieved a reasonable compromise. So now what I want to do, this is the hard part. Now what I want to do, is it the hard part? It's not actually that hard. Oh, you know what I want to do? Let's clean up just a little bit. Ooh, coffee. You know, it's really fun to use those stone wheels on metal, which they were intended. I mean, I'm always trying to get a little bit of aluminum or remove a little bit of material, and it never works. It's always a bad idea because you gum them up. You got to use them on what they were built for. I know. Here is my spring. I know this seems really floppy. I know it does. Here we go. This is a gram tester. 10 grams. 10 or 15, 10 or 12. Yeah, there we go. So that's what I'm talking about. Less than half an ounce of pressure. And I put this in my nose. It gets out of the way. I would worry about adding too many mechanics. I think that spring is my deal. So I'm going to glue the spring to this part first. Oh. Too much came out too quickly. Oy. Undoing, and I'm going to redo. Yeah, I think I do. It'll help me angle the other one correctly. Let's try this. Get a little more strength in here. Ooh. Oh, nice. So, yeah, that gets out of the way. It doesn't hurt me at all. And when it goes in, oink, goes away. Oh, dude. There is our effects knife. I'm quite pleased with that. Yeah. Okay. We've got the knife finished. I may add a tiny bit of stickum in there just to get it nice and lined up for the shot, and then doink. God, I'm so happy with that. It's such a nice, gentle bend out of the way. That is just terrific. Just stellar. Really, really pleased. Okay, so now it's time to add the blood effects. Now, I think that the blood is held like this in the operator's hand. So the operator's hand goes, you know what? Hold on. There, now we have a model. So we stick the knife up in the nose of our subject and we flick it. So I think the operator holds the bulb in their hand, sticks the knife up here, and then slices. And as they slice, they squeeze the bulb. Slice, slice, slice. Each time I'm squeezing, I think that's going to work just great. I'm not going to drill the nostril of this model. This is me at 26. I was bald and clean shaven. The last time I was both. Yes, I spent a bunch of years as a fully shaved bald man. I just got so tired of my hair. I used to be really stressed out about my hair. Clearly, I have gotten over that. The bulb lives here, right? So here's the shot. You don't see anything. Hey, kitty cat, boop. This will be filled full of blood. A bit of Tygon tubing will go from it up to here. And then it will glue right here. Yeah, it'll go right up there. Probably on the, yeah. And then I need to make it spray out of there. I don't want it to just go north. I want it to also come out. So I'm gonna have to play around with that. So first step is to get these two guys together. And I have an idea. This is a fabulous little thing. It is a DeWalt heat gun, battery powered. It does not put out a ton of heat, but that's what makes it awesome. This is fabulous for heat shrink. I just found this to be a really nice, sensitive tool. And there you go. Yeah, just a little bit of heat applied to the equation. So then, let's see. So then, if this is held down there, and so then, yeah, I'm going to cut it right. Actually, let's see here. Yeah. Yeah, cut it right there. So then the question is, yeah, we got to keep that puppy out of the way. Yeah, I really like that length. So now, oh, right, okay. This is the last casting I have. I used to have a mold for this. I still have this grand plan to fix the ears. Oh, I wonder if that works. So I just want to see how this sprays. That's kind of great. Even better. Filling this thing is going to be interesting. I've pulled out one of these guys. Oh, yes. That's how to do it. That's how to do it. Again, ta-da! Okay. Need to take the kinks out of your Tygon tubing? Well, this heat gun does just the trick. Don't ever let your practical effects get caught out again. Guide that tube to go just where you want it to go. Our little heat gun will soften up the polymer chains until they become cooperative. Great machine. We'll include a link in the comments below. This is model DCE530 heat gun type 1, maximum heat 990 Fahrenheit. Like I said, it does not put out a crap ton of heat, and that is its best feature. See, I feel like, wow. Okay, so I can get a little bit of wire in there, and that's what I want to try. I want to try, Oh, you know what? Maybe I can also make this a little flatter. Oh, let's try that. A little flatter. Now let's also get that tip bent down again. What I've got here is a tip that's been flattened a little bit and been made to guide the spray that way. So let's see how we do here. And then I need another grabber there. So that I can secure with little jeweler's wire. And this one, I think I just need to drill through. Oh, God, I hate these drawers. I know I should fix them. Oh. I put the thing I wanted back and kept the thing I didn't. Wonder if I'll be able to drill through that. Let us find out. Hey, I nailed it. Awesome. Now I've got a little bit of wire sticking out there, and I can use that to grab onto the tube. I'm going to do the same thing down here. No. Okay, I have a knife loaded with water. I have I have a squeeze bulb loaded with water. I'm going to put it up the nose of my victim, and I'm going to slice. It looks pretty amazing. I'm going to try that in slow-mo. Okay, what I'm learning is that I had the knife pointed this way, and it really needs to be exactly facing the camera. So I do that. Yeah. Am I going to drill out this nose? I really don't want to. I think I have to. Okay. I knew I had the perfect thing. A silicone mask of an old dude. All right, here we go. Let's, oh, you know what? We'll make this easier to get on. The thing about doing effects is it's not just about building the effect. You actually, you know, the producer is going to insist that you sell them on it. No one's going to want to show up to a shoot in which you promise it's going to work. They want to see a camera test. So the camera test is super, super important. All right, let's see here. Yes. Creepy AF. That is just freaking disturbing. That may require a little bit of help later, but we put this in kitty cat and then You know what happens to kitty cats that get their noses stuck, eh? That is gonna work. Okay, to the blood. I love using Ridley Scott approved blood. It doesn't smell awesome. All right, I'm just, this smells funky, and I don't want to put it on my face if it's kind of gone bad, for all the obvious reasons. However, it'll work great for a test on this guy. So here we go. Okay, we're gonna load this. And we're gonna install it here. That's a nice grab. All right, here we go. Yep. There we go. And then here's hoping. Here we go. 3. Hey, kitty cat. You know what happens to cats that stick their noses where they don't belong? Ooh. All right, I'm pretty happy with that. I still think I need to do a little bit of shaping on the tip here. Okay, I think this might do. Oh yeah, kitty cat. Ooh. 3. Ooh. 3, 2. Ooh, no, that's terrible. No, that's no good. This is like true. This is true like on-set effects work, trying to get this going. Yeah, happy with that shot. Great. Another bastard. All right, here we go. Up in, and then you say 3, 2, 1. Okay, let's see here. It's facing this way. That's it. Oh, great. Okay. Let's try this again. Oh, yeah. Okay, we're gonna watch that. See how we like it. Okay. Here we go again. Yep, okay, here we go. We're gonna try this. In 3, 2, 1. That, I'm very pleased with that.
And here we have it, the completed rig. It worked beautifully in situ. I gotta say, even knowing for a good portion of my life how this effect worked and knowing that it was ridiculously simple, there's still something deeply satisfying about seeing it up close and personal. The Corridor Crew guys came up to San Francisco. We filmed here for a day in the cave. We filmed the effect working. We filmed a plate for their digital. When we filmed the effect working, I really got to get them to connect to what it was like to be a practical effects dude like I was on sets, in that they had to hold the knife naturally but hide the bulb and get the timing and get the knife in the nose without jiggling it and then do the slice and time the...
Here, I'll show you what I'm thinking. If you're doing this...
Okay.
See what I mean?
You did it so effortlessly. You must have spent
I've had a lot of practice.
It's amazing how easy it is to forget any of these steps. They're all so simple, but you have to remember how to do all of them at the correct time. And just something as simple as like, oh, I squeezed it for a little too long.
I feel so seen as a practical effects on set dude. I swear to God.
You know what we do to nose the guys? Huh? What happens to them? Always our noses.
3, 2, 1, flight.
Oh, that felt good.
Oh, you got Dean!
It is a lot of pressure. The whole crew has shut down and is watching you silently. Often the gaffers and grips are up front, shaking their heads, calling you an idiot to your face. Seriously, it is not for the faint of heart to be a practical effects person. And the corridor crew got that. So I feel like I did my job of showing how things work from my side of the camera. My total tally, build plus shooting, was 2 hours, 31 minutes, and 18 seconds. I don't know how long it took the corridor crew to do it, but if you want to see their video where we get the final tally and see the digital versus practical effect, the link is in the description below. This is not the last time I want to do this. This was super, super fun. So if you've got ideas for digital versus practical effects that we can do another pass on this, I'd love to hear about them in the comments. All right, guys, thank you for joining us for this one-day build. I will see you next time.